Senator King.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of preliminary questions about staff. Both of you mentioned in your testimony that you rely upon not only military personnel but civilians. My question to each of you is, are you under any orders, or have orders come down, or have you already started to implement, or has somebody started to implement reductions in force, firings, people who have taken I call it the early retirement option? General Cotton, what's the status of your civilian workforce?
Well, our civilian workforce, we're about 65% civilian in the headquarters, but that doesn't account for the 41,000 that make up the componencies that work under my charge. Right now, Senator, very small amount of folks that took the early retirement activities, but the option for them to do so still exists. But right now, we're not seeing an effect. The numbers are pretty small.
And no firings?
We have not fired anyone.
Are you under any orders to reduce that staff by a certain percentage?
We're looking for the efficiencies piece, but right now it's all voluntary. And like I said, from our perspective, from Stratcom, the numbers have been very, very small.
And are you subject to a hiring freeze?
I am.
So those people who are leaving, you're not allowed to replace. Is that correct?
Well, we have a opportunity to get a waiver approved because of our mission set. And if there's a requirement for us to do a waiver to see if we can get someone through the hiring freeze, we can process that.
General Whiting, same set of questions.
Senator, my answers are almost identical to General Cotton's. About 60% of my headquarters staff is government civilians. We've had a small number who have volunteered for the deferred retirement program. We are under no orders to fire anyone. We are aware that we're looking at need to look for efficiencies, as General Cotton discussed. We also are under a hiring freeze, and we have the opportunity for critical positions to ask for exemptions to that.
Thank you. General Whiting, I was interested, you mentioned I think it's called the Artemis Accord, which is clearly based upon allies. I'm concerned that we seem to be in a process of alienating our allies. Talk to me about the importance of the Artemis Accord in order to carry out your mission.
Senator, the Artemis Accords are overseen by NASA and the Department of State, and that's a civil exploratory set of agreements about shared principles in space between countries. On the military side, I have a named operation called Operation Olympic Defender, which includes 7 countries, which is the United States, plus the Five Eyes nations, Germany and France, where we cooperate in space together to understand what's happening there. And again, we're showing...
Those relationships with other countries are important to the execution of your mission, is that correct?
They are, Senator.
A question I haven't been able to get a clear answer on is, what's the concept of the Golden Dome? In other words, would it be 1,000 THAAD batteries, or is it conventional missile defense? Is it directed energy? What's the underlying concept of Golden Dome other than to protect the homeland, which is certainly a worthy goal?
Senator, the department right now has been going through a series of meetings and working groups to define what that architecture will look like. But in the executive order, it lays out that the president's asking the department to develop a series of capabilities that will protect against these new modernized threats like hypersonics, maneuvering vehicles that put the homeland at risk. So I think it'll be a layered system that will have to account for all of those threats at multiple phases of the life cycle of a missile.
Well, that's the mission, I understand. So but I take it we're some distance away from the operational concepts of what will actually, what it will consist of. A very specific question. Both of you rely heavily on Kwajalein Atoll for training and testing purposes. My understanding is the infrastructure there is woefully inadequate. Can you speak to an effort to try to upgrade that infrastructure so that that atoll can continue to be an important part of our strategic deterrence initiative?
Senator, Kwajalein Atoll is very important for our space mission. I visited there last summer. There's 5 sensors there that support our mission. We have advocated with the Department of the Army for investments there to make sure that the infrastructure can support those missions. And in fact, my combatant command is in the process right now of defining exactly what the support requirements are that we need there so we can put those into our next O plan to make sure the Army understands exactly what requirements we need, but that is a very important location for us.
If you can just keep the committee informed of that, of what the need is, whether it's authorities or funding, it could be an important part of our ongoing deliberations. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.